Alright, I've been contemplating doing this forever, but just, I don't know, I guess you can say, I don't know how many times I felt like I had to, just didn't do it, but finally too much is way too much. For some reason, Hannity and Beck and all them, just none of them get it. That Obama is flat out the Antichrist. If you just look at what he's done since he's been in office, you know, every single thing he's done has been to destroy this country. The very first thing he got in office, very first thing, he signed two of the biggest pork deals ever in history. I mean, one right after the other. Those are the first two things after spending his whole campaign saying the pork deals were over with, yada yada. And from there on, it's just been an onslaught. Where with the BP oil spill, he fought to make sure, he flat out told everybody, nobody do nothing about that. He told BP themselves, do not do anything to plug that. And finally, when other countries were about to sue him because, you know, I don't even know what you call it. You want to talking about, you know, environmental disaster. You know, he talks all this talk about, you know, what's hurting the environment. He's the biggest, I don't know what you call it, violator of that ever in history. With how he fought until Mexico was flat out going to post an international arrest on him just for that alone, which Mexico has an arrest on him now for the Fast and Furious because of how many Mexican citizens have been murdered through Fast and Furious. I mean, every single thing the guy does is a total contradiction and lie. And he's a good enough liar. I mean, he's the same thing as Ted Bundy saying, let me come in your house, I swear I'll clean it forever, and I'll, you know, do all your ironing and yada, yada, yada. And he does it so convincingly, you let him in, you know, at least anybody that's stupid. And as soon as he walks in, you know, it clubs a girl in the head, kills her, and then, you know, rapes her dead body. And that's Obama. He's trying to get us to be that freaking stupid girl that just believes them, and then once he, you know, we say, okay, it's exactly what Satan wants. I mean, Lucifer can't just possess everybody, or he'd just do it. I mean, you'd see that with Job in the Bible, where, you know, when Lucifer says to, you know, God, you know, Christ, you know, well, hey, let me possess him, you know, so I could prove if he's, you know, that worthy or not. And he had to ask God, you know, Christ, you know, can I do this? And Christ had to tell him, okay. Otherwise, you know, Lucifer would just be possessing everybody, exorcist style. And, like, this is just so big. There's so much to it. I mean, we got 7 years of the Antichrist in office. And his whole thing is just get us to say okay to what he says. And once we say okay, it's our ass. And there's so many people that are blind and ignorant that don't even know. Even that one song he had, Yes We Can. You play that backwards, the lyrics in it say the time is going to come and people are going to say, you know, I was fooled or I was tricked. And Lucifer's going to say, hey, too bad. You went with it. You know, if you don't know the God of Christ, that's on you. Or the Word of God, the Word of Christ, you know, that's on you. You know, the Bible's there. You had your chance to read it. And if you wouldn't, and you wouldn't find out what's what, and I was able to come along and woo you into, you know, selling your soul or losing your soul, hey, that's on you. You know, it was your choice, and they're not going to have, God's not going to be anywhere near. You know, they're going to be praying to God, save me, save me. He's going to be totally gone from them. The only person that's going to hear and talk to them is Lucifer. And that's what we got. He is so close to having this world, because all he has to do is collapse this country. Lucifer's already got every other country out there. He's already taken them over. You know, this is the final gem here in actually Israel. And that's biblical. It's in the last days. It's, you know, prophecy. That's what's going to happen in the last days. And it even says that in the last days, America will turn on Israel. Well, look what we got. Obama is doing everything he can to set up the total annihilation of Israel. I mean, him and these terrorists, the Muslims, I mean, they're all the same. They're getting told by Lucifer what to do, which is why they're taking their time and they're being calculating. You know, if Islam was so holy, what are they doing climbing in bed with the drug cartels that rape and butcher women like crazy? And, you know, I mean, just look up all the killings they've done, what they've done. I mean, that's like the evilest of evil. But yet, here's Islam in bed with them, trying to set up, taking this country out. And there's so many things going on that are set up to take this country out. You know, there was that plane in Malaysia that disappeared. Guarantee that thing landed in Yemen or Pakistan. And it's rigged with a nuke. You know, if you think Pakistan hasn't been passing around the nuke information, you're either you're satanic or you're as dumb as it gets, even worse. There's 2 nukes that we have missing in this country. I can't remember his name, but right now, but there's a politician from South Carolina that was screaming about it, and they hurry up and shut him up. He was out there publicly saying, hey, Obama's going to nuke this country with our own nukes. And there's still 2 missing. That's swept under the rug. Nobody knows where they are. There's 100,000 tons or so of ammonium nitrate that has disappeared from farms like in Sweden and Finland. No one's found that yet. I mean, they're setting up like a 9/11 style attack times 10,000. Where when they strike, this time it's not going to just hurt us. It's going to annihilate this country. And it's from the ignorance and the Satanism of the liberals. How they're looking for any reason to make sure this evil keeps on. And it's just what they've always done. It's, they've been working at this for decades. I don't even know when they started. Most I know, because I was born 50 years ago, Reagan signed, this treaty thing, or they made a law that if they made all the illegals that were in this country legal, then that would be it. And they'd put up a wall. And that wall would just stop any from coming over again, and it would stop us from having this disaster that we had before. Well, the Democrats signed it. They said, yeah, let's do that, yeah. Well, that 1 million, 1.3 or 5 million turned into 8 million because the Democrats drug it as long as they could, and all of Mexico stampeded across the border. So by the time, Reagan signed that, there was like 7 plus 8 million. But still, then again, it got signed, they got made legal, and they were supposed to put up the wall. Well, as soon as he signed it, the Democrats started fighting with everything they had to make sure the wall didn't get built. To where finally all we got is like this little chintzy fence that, you can just climb over, and all parts of it are cut down. The cartels just cut it down and, come through. So now we're at another disastrous part where, like California, if California was its own country, it would have the 9th strongest economy in the world. But they're bankrupt. Every year, they got to file for bankruptcy for $3 billion. That's billion, not million. Each city, major city, San Diego, LA, San Francisco, got to file a $1 billion bailout. Each one of them, because of the crime, rapes, robberies, it's unbelievable. And here's these Democrats, they're still fighting to keep them there. They're flat out saying this. There's no way you could be a Democrat and be a Christian, not a true Christian. Satan tells them, lie with everything you have to do what I need you to do. And that's what they're doing. Harry Reid's claiming he's Mormon. Pelosi's claiming she's Catholic, which, blame me, the Catholics are very questionable there, what side of the fence they're actually really on. But that's a whole other thing. But everything they fight for is for evil. I mean, Obama's let out who knows how many murderers, and is bringing people into this country and trying to make them legal that are murderers, that are known to the FBI to be wanted for murder in their home country, and Obama's bringing them in. I mean, all you have to do is look this up. I mean, there's videos all over the internet, all over here, YouTube, that says all this. And they're just attacking every single thing that they can attack. Clear from, pushing abortion, Obama pulled out, here we are, the economy's collapsing, full-on collapse. He's pulling hundreds of billions of dollars out of our future, money not even made yet, trying to give it to every state he can to get them to spend that money on only abortions, to try to get as many abortions as possible, long-handed around the world. He told the rest of the world, hey, who wants some free abortions? Here, I'll give you money. And I don't think anybody took him up on it. I think everybody was like, you got to be kidding, dude. Your country's in collapse, and you're trying to hand us hundreds of millions for free abortions? And I'm not sure if anyone in America took it either. I think Bill Richardson in New Mexico came like that close to, doing it, and then he was like, no, I can't. That'll totally kill me. I can't push that Satanism across without the people revolting. So, I mean, this just tells who he is. If you look at his whole history, which the list is, I don't even know how long it is, 100 pages, 500 pages of all the satanic things he's done. I mean, all you have to do is look at what he's done. It's like what Christ said. They pulled Christ in front, said, "Who are you? Are you the Christ?" He says, "Well, how about you? Tell me. You look at what I've done. If you don't know from what all I've done." But there again, the Sanhedrin was full of Satanists. And they didn't want to prove him that he was Christ. They were worried about them losing their power. Because once, everybody acknowledges he's the Christ, well, that's it. The Sanhedrin's second rate. So they're like, hey, we got to get rid of this guy. We don't even care if he is the Christ. Because we got to be the ones at top. And we're going to lose our positions and our fame and whatever. Because, back then there was no rock stars or movie stars. They were it. They were the, prime famous people. And it's the same thing here with the Democrats. They're like, if the Republicans win, or succeed at anything, well, then we're going to be out of office. So we have to fight for everything that's evil and make sure they don't succeed. It's what they did with, the bombings in Beirut, where, 240 plus of our Marines were murdered. Well, Joe Biden, this used to be all over the internet, but they've got it off. That's one thing about the internet. Everybody thinks everything's on the internet. No. The Democrats have gotten a lot of stuff off the internet. I remember all the old documentaries about Islam that told the truth about Muhammad. The only way you could find any of those now is like through Bill Federer, his documentary. He wrote a book about Usama Daktak, who has, speeches he's given on it. But like regular documentaries done by History Channel, you can't find them anymore, because I remember a bunch. And I went back to go look for them and find them, and I can't. And actually, there's documentaries like that about the Catholic Church you can't find anymore. But when this bombings happened in Beirut, Reagan was going to tear ass. And Biden said, you better get everybody out of there, because if you don't, you're going to start an illegal war. We're going to make sure the public thinks it's illegal. And if you try to go back and do anything afterwards, we're going to have you arrested for starting an illegal war. And we'll just fight you on every bit of the way. And so Reagan had to pull out. This was all common knowledge back then, big time. And a lot of people now, they're like, what? That happened when Reagan was in, and he just pulled out and he didn't do nothing. Well, the Democrats, they had enough numbers, and just like in Vietnam, they would have just used the media, turned the public against them, and then everything would have been done. Which is like what happened in Vietnam. The Democrats made us lose the war in Vietnam by lying to the people 24/7. Even though we won every battle, we somehow lost the war. Go figure that. Anyways, Biden, when he got asked, because actually the bombing happened from Biden. When we went into Beirut, Biden told the terrorists, if you just kill a bunch of us through a terrorist attack, we'll leave. We won't stay. Well, that's what happened. They pulled that bombing on the barracks. And we pulled out. And when the Washington Journal, I remember it was the Washington Journal that interviewed him and had this on the internet for the longest till it was pulled off. They said, look, you're a part of this attack. You told the terrorists what to do. You gave them, the intelligence, and they did it. And Biden said, well, so what? How are we going to get the White House back? Look, we won. We succeeded. It's the same thing Harry Reid did to Romney about out of the blue. Oh, Romney doesn't pay no taxes. He hasn't paid no taxes ever, just out of the blue. And here comes the ignorant and the blind, people that are totally naive and ignorant, following Lucifer into hell. It's those people that when the last day comes, Lucifer's going to say, your ass is mine now. And they're going to be, no way, you tricked me. Besides the ones that are actually flat out Satanists that know that that's where they're going. But, I don't know, it just kills me that there are that many people in this country that are that stupid or willing to burn in hell forever. Because that's exactly where they're going. You're not going to be able to claim, oh, I was ignorant or I was stupid. No, you've had every opportunity in this country to pull your head out and know what's what. I mean, the Bible's everywhere. You could read it. Well, there's nothing keeping you from reading it. So, you want to know what's what. That's what you got to do. And if you follow something else, you choose to follow something else, that's on you. That's flat out on you. And I don't know, just to finish up here, as far as they've gone is like into schools and into like even Little League games, where for those that don't know this, I just found this out a little bit ago. I didn't know this. That even in Little League games now, they aren't keeping score. They're telling the kids, well, you just play and we'll just at a certain amount of time, we'll just say, okay, we're done, time's up, and you guys all shake each other's hand and yada yada. All you're doing is making this country a country of wimps. All you mothers out there and weak dads that think, yeah, that's the way to go because no one feels bad at the end of the game that they lost. Well, you know what? You're setting them up for ultimate failure, especially if this country goes to war. Because, they're used to not putting in really an effort. They're used to just doing it because it's the neighborhood thing, because the rest of the kids are doing it, but not really putting out any effort because, they aren't going to get nothing for it. It's like in class, in school, they don't put any effort. They just say, let's just say everybody gets a C, show up when you want, do whatever homework you feel like, and at the end of the semester we'll just give y'all C's. That's what it is. And if we get invaded by, let's say, China, they're going to be armed, and they're going to be trained to the hilt, and they're going to be tough, and they aren't going to just give up because, well, that's too hard. I don't want to go that far. I don't want to do that because there's no incentive. They're not teaching these kids, you get this when you work this hard, or you get that. They're teaching them, no, you'll get whatever you want if you just do whatever, and it will be your kid that is one of the first to get, kidnapped or killed in that type of situation. And everybody knows that's where we're going, that this world's arming up against this country and Israel. And when they come, they're coming to take this country. They aren't coming just to check it out. They're all planning together. Obama got caught saying to Medved, hey, when I get my second term, I'll be more free. Russia invades Ukraine. We're bound by the Budapest Memorandum to protect Ukraine. Clinton signed it, along with Yeltsin and John Major and, what's his name, Kuchma, was the president of Ukraine at the time. We all signed it to make sure that nobody, no country, anything invaded Ukraine again. Here, Russia invades after Obama said, hey, let's have this secret deal going on, which we couldn't find out what the secret deal was, but obvious, that Putin wasn't going to, or Obama wasn't going to do anything if Putin invaded Ukraine. Putin invades, Obama does nothing. In fact, he fights with all he has to do nothing. And there again, this just goes on forever with all the evidence. The Christians being slaughtered in, the Yazidis. Obama sure doesn't want to bring none of them over as refugees. But all these Syrians, these, 100% Muslims that you already know, they've been chanting death to America, death to Israel. We used to watch the videos of this all the time in the 70s where they'd get together in huge numbers. And that's just what they do. This didn't just start lately, like on 9/11. Clear back in the 70s when I was a kid, they were hijacking planes and, cruise ships. And they were murdering people and throwing their bodies out on the tarmac and dumping bodies out in the ocean. And everything's for Islam. Everything's for Allah. Which there again, if you don't have any common sense, a tree is known by its fruit. Apple tree is known as an apple tree because it puts out apples. Same with an orange tree, yada yada. Islam puts out murder, torture, rape, mayhem. And who's the god of that? Lucifer. So if you haven't put that together yet, you have no common sense. You might have a PhD in something, but other than that, you're completely freaking retarded. So if you just look at Obama's history, what he's done and not done, flat out, he's the Antichrist, and if he's not somehow, he's made the Antichrist retire or just say, forget it, I don't need to do nothing. Obama's freaking got it. Anyways, I don't know, this is so much that's gone on. Like I said, I've thought of doing this, eons of times, and I just thought, well, maybe not because of this, maybe not because of that. You know what, finally, too much is too much. And I guess you could say it was the final straw that broke the camel's back when I heard from somebody that I know that even little kids weren't keeping score. First thing that came to me, I guess because my eyes are open and my ears hear, like Christ said, he told the Sanhedrin, you have eyes but you do not see, you have ears but you do not hear. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, that's setting this next generation up to hand this country over. That's what it's doing. The generation now that's grown up, they're willing to fight. Next generation, that's what they're going for. Like I said, they've been working on this since the 70s or since the 60s or 50s or however long back it's gone. But we're at the tipping point now. This generation has allowed so much to happen that we're at that point now that unless we fight, and there again, we're so far gone, we have to have God to help us on this. We have to pray and do whatever we can to get him to get our back, because we've gone way into freaking Sodom and Gomorrah mode. I mean, he could come right now. I mean, the horns of revelations have sounded. I swear to God, I've heard this myself. It was in February 2012, and I was on a job, and I heard this, sound outside, and the Spirit told me this is what it is. And you can see it on the internet. If you look up strange sound in the sky, Ukraine, and in Allen, Texas, that's the sound I heard. And the Spirit told me that's what this is. It's the horns of revelations. And from what I get, he had only some people hear it, because, to be honest, I called around everybody where I was at the time to ask, what did you guys hear? What was this? And nobody heard. It's just me and this, I don't know, a few people. I'll just put it that way. Very few. So anyways, Christ could be coming, because that's one of the signs. He could come like right this very second. And so I got a whole lot more to say on this. I'm going to be putting other vids up, trying to cover every subject I can, because more people's souls are in danger than you can even imagine. People that think, oh, this is okay and that's okay. No, read the Bible and find out. Because once you start reading, you're going to see what's really what. You may think in your brain, oh, this is okay and that's okay, because, God, Christ crucified himself or had himself crucified, so, it makes up for anything I do. No, that just makes it where it's possible for you to still get to heaven. But you got to repent and make up for what you've done, and you got to live by the laws. I mean, it's flat out black and white there. His laws and his ways and how it is. And if you aren't on the right side of it when that last time comes, when he finally comes, you're done. And you just have to read to see how serious he is, because that's a verse that he's ultimate forgiving, and merciful, but he's strict. I mean, crazy strict. Either you live by his laws, and if you read, you'll see that. Just start reading from the beginning, read as much as you can each day, or, whenever you got any time, because everyone on this planet, this is it. This is the end days right now, and it's way into the end days. It's not just started. That's about all I can say. Like right now, without taking 5 days on this, just Obama. We got to do whatever we could do to get him out of office, like this very second. Get him out of power. You got to terrorize your politicians. For those of you who have voted in Obama this last time around, and in politicians that support him, well, you're probably, Lucifer's just waiting for you. I mean, you can repent like crazy, which I suggest you do, and try to turn that and everything, get all them out of office, that are supporting him, because when that last day comes and you belong to Lucifer, because that's how it's going to be. It's going to be a great and dreadful day. Everyone's going to know which direction they're going, whether they're going up and down, as soon as they see him. And, like it says in the Bible, as soon as they see him, some people are going to run into the mountains and beg for the stones to crush them, like huge boulders to fall upon them, because they'd rather have that than face him, who's in the judgment seat. Right now, his seat, I guess, is called the mercy seat, where he has mercy on us. When he comes, it's going to be time of judgment. He's going to be sitting in this judgment seat, and they're going to know what's coming. And they'd rather be crushed by boulders than to face their own judgment. And that's where we're at. This whole country, this whole planet, but mainly this country, because you've had the opportunity more than any other country and race to have your act together, to know what's what. I'm sure almost everybody that watches this knows the history around the world. And I'm sure all sorts of Satanists are going to be talking crap about this, because that's what they do. They can't do it with facts. They do it by name calling. They try to say, "Oh, you're so stupid," and God's a fairy tale, yada yada yada. Well, you'll see when he comes. Well, that's it. So the last thing I guess I want to say here is the reason I'm doing it like this with this ski mask thing on is because I want it to be about the point. I want it to be about the facts, what I'm talking about. Not me, not anything else about me. It's just about that. So I'm going to be wearing this thing every single time. And that's about it. Say, till the next time.